Hi, I'm Kirk Agus with Federal Educators, and welcome to the Federal Employee Benefits Show. Our experience in working with federal employees has taught us that no one solution is right for every situation. In today's show, we will help answer the most common questions we receive every day. How will I retire, and when am I eligible to retire? What is MRA? What year would you like to retire? How do I calculate my FERS or CSRS annuity? What is the best cost of the survivor benefit? What happens to FEGLI when I retire? What should I do with my TSP? Should I buy back military time? When should I elect Social Security? Should I roll my TSP to an IRA? What about Roth or traditional IRAs? We understand your benefits, its strengths, and its weakness, and we know how to help you get the most from your retirement plan. This show is to help educate you on your federal benefits and help you take full advantage of all that your federal benefits have to offer. When it comes to your federal employee benefits, what you don't know can hurt you. So sit back and take some notes. All of this and more on the Federal Employee Benefits Show, and it starts right now.
We're talking about federal benefits, and we meet with a lot of federal employees, and we just seem to feel like there's so many questions out there that they have. And I know we're talking about the federal benefits. There's this FERS system, there's this CSRS system, but is it just the federal benefits in retirement, or is there a lot more? So today, I'm gonna talk about a bit of a downer subject, bereavement leave for federal employees. Bereavement leave is perhaps the only official leave from work we all dread having.
What is FERS? Special Provisions Eligibility for Law Enforcement, Firefighters, and Air Traffic Control. What is early out, and what does credible coverage mean? Did you get all that?
Coming up next on the Federal Employee Benefits Show, the Roundtable segment.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Chris Maggie, and I'm here with my dad co-host, Robert Maggie, as well as Kirk Agus, and we're talking about federal benefits. And we meet with a lot of federal employees, and we just seem to feel like there's so many questions out there that they have. And I know we're talking about the federal benefits. There's this FERS system, there's this CSRS system, but is it just the federal benefits in retirement, or is there a lot more?
No, I think what the question is do they have income planning? Do they have Social Security planning? Do they have a state, or we call it enhanced planning, that ties everything together? It's called a complete plan. And the problem that I see, and I think you both would agree, is that when someone comes in, they say, well, my advisor didn't tell me about that, because they don't do complete planning. And I think that's so important right now, the word complete, a holistic approach to federal benefits that attach everything else to it.
Sure. I mean, think about just from the tax planning side of things, right? We're not talking about taxes from January to April, come in, bring your return, file it, and you're done. We do taxes year round. So when you talk about TSP, you've got a traditional side of TSP, which is all taxable dollars. Then you have the Roth, which is tax-free. And when you talk about other IRAs or 401ks, the qualified money that's taxable, there's a lot of planning that goes into it. And what's the tax implications for every individual? They can go on the website, for example, and they can do the retirement tax bill. It's right there on federalecducators.com, and they can figure out how much tax liability they have for each of themselves.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because that's a good spot you hit. People that have qualified money like IRAs or TSP, and they're taking money out and they're paying a tax on it when they have tax-free money and they're not using it. How many times have we seen a client come in that the advisor said, take it out of your IRA 401k, and you take a look at the tax return, right? And then we look on the other side and we go, well, you have Roth money here and non-qualified money. Why aren't you taking it from there? Why is that a problem? It's a taxable problem. How many times have we told clients, go back to your advisor, stop taking that withdrawal because you don't need it, take it over here and let it grow.
No, Chris, jump in.
Well, that's just it. I mean, most advisors out there are transactional. They just want to deal with the investments, or even your tax guy just wants to deal with tax preparation. They don't look at the whole complete plan.
Right.
So you made a great point, because we see this all the time. Just a couple of months ago, my gosh, client came in, said, I'm paying too much in taxes. I had a tax bill that I had to pay. Now I'm paying estimated taxes.
Yep.
Why? So what we did was a tax analysis. We reviewed their tax return, found out that they needed an extra $1,500 a month, but guess where they were taking it from? The qualified account. Some from the husband's 401k, some from her old TSP, and guess what? They had money on the tax-free side. There was non-qualified money, also Roth money. So what they could have done is maybe take a little bit from the taxable environment,
Yep.
maybe $500, take the other $1,000 from the non-qualified account, and guess what? Reduce their tax. That's the tax analysis side of it. So we can calculate their federal benefits. We can show them what it's going to look like in retirement. We could do the tax planning. We could do the income planning, the investment planning. What about that Social Security or even enhanced planning? What is that?
Sure, because it's always changing. Everything's changing. You know, Social Security is changing. You know, someone wants to start Social Security at 62, maybe because they need the benefit.
There's a difference.
Or their neighbor or their their co-worker, the water cooler talk I
take
talk
it,
about
yeah.
it. They say, well, they tell you got to take it at 62. You got to be careful of it though, because it's such an individualized benefit, right? It's about yourself. Do you need to take the benefit? Maybe you don't need it. Maybe you want to take it and reinvest it. You could do that, but you have to be careful of the earnings test.
But
right?
go
The
back
earnings
to one
limit.
thing you said. We run a Social Security maximization report, and we run it for every client. All we need is their Social Security statement.
Right.
But the beauty of it is that they see exactly what you're talking about, when to take it, and how much. And we've had people actually go down to Social Security and show this report, and they say, well, these guys know more than we do, because what Social Security is only going to tell them is how much they're going to get, when they're going to get it, and where do you want it deposited. And that's it. That's not the story.
Well, Social Security is a federal agency, right? So we work with a lot of federal Social Security employees. But you're right, because that's what they tell us, right?
True.
So from our view, we see the holistic approach. And we can do a mock tax return. You mentioned taxes, the thought process is just from January through April. But from our side, it's not tax preparation. Anyone could do tax preparation. You could do it yourself, right? But the tax analysis and the tax planning. So we can show you in, say, July, we can show you what your federal pension is going to be if you take Social Security. Also, if you take money out of your TSP traditional or TSP Roth or your husband's Social Security, what that tax return is going to look like. And then you could say, oh my gosh, I could retire, and my effective tax rate can be go from 16% down to 8%. Wow, I can have more income in retirement? That's what we see with federal employees.
But stay with that, because the tax cuts are going to happen in a couple of years. And what people don't realize, it's going to go up at least 3%.
Right.
They don't see it now because they're getting the money. But I guarantee, and that's why we run the retirement tax calculator, to put your numbers in there to see what your future tax bill is going to be. Folks, that is what it's about. You have to understand the rules. If you don't, then I've said it before, don't play the game. You're going to get hurt.
You say it all the time. You talk about legislative risk, right?
That's another thing.
So when we talk about all the qualified money, what did they do again up in D.C. at the end of last year? Secure Act 2.0 came along, and they moved the goalpost back on the RMD, the required minimum distribution. No longer 72, 73, right? So those folks who are getting ready to take an RMD by turning 72 have an extra year. And oh, by the way, it'll change again in 2033 when it goes to age 75.
The rules.
Right? So you got to be up on all the new changes, right? Because there's a question right there we ask clients all the time. What kind of a tax plan do you have? What's your strategy with all the qualified money before you get to RMD? What is RMD? That's number one. They don't understand that. Well, I don't have a plan. No, you have an incomplete plan. And that's okay. You're not alone. I mean, a lot of folks have incomplete plans, and that's what we're here to help with.
But stay with that, because the words you use, like the question we ask, do you have an income plan? Do you have a tax plan? Do you have a retirement plan? And they look at you like you're doing and go, gee, I don't know. The question I asked them, why are you here?
Right.
How can we help you? And that's the question. Because we can, and that's what most federal employees, I mean, we've worked with a lot of them over the years. And it's a great feeling that, they can come back and say, you guys are right, and boy, I'm so glad I met you.
So that's just it. It's not about how much money you have. It doesn't matter. This is your money. This is your benefits, as Kirk mentioned. It's about you. we can run that federal benefits analysis for you. You bring in your leave and earnings statement, your Social Security statement, and also last year's tax return and your TSP statement. Let's run that report for you. Let's show you what the numbers look like, and guess what? You'll have an aha moment to know, hey, I can retire now, or I have to wait a little bit more. It's totally up to you. So more to come right here on the Federal Benefits Show.
Hi, I'm Bobby Maggie, owner of Federal Educators, a company dedicated to helping federal employees just like you. How much will you receive in your pension? How much does the survivor benefit cost? Can you keep your health insurance in retirement? With a free benefits analysis, we will answer all these questions and more. As a federal employee, it's critical to have a clear understanding to maximize your benefits. From FERS retirement to Social Security and health insurance, our team at Federal Educators specializes in knowing your benefits. Schedule your free benefits analysis today.
Coming up next is the topic segment on the Federal Employee Benefits Show.
Welcome to Federal Educators. I'm Chris Maggie. The federal retirement process can be complex, and it is important to access accurate information from knowledgeable sources. At Federal Educators, we strive to be a great resource for understanding how to plan for retirement and learning about the available benefits and your options. Don't hesitate to contact us at 813-491-1786 if you have any questions or would like to receive a personalized federal benefits analysis. It's free and no cost or obligation to you. So today, I'm going to talk about a bit of a downer subject, bereavement leave for federal employees. Bereavement leave is perhaps the only official leave from work we all dread having. There is some comfort in knowing you won't have to worry about your employment and can focus on your loved one. The Office of Personnel Management, or what we call OPM, recently announced new guidelines on bereavement leave for federal employees. Let's discuss everything you must know about bereavement leave for federal employees and what their new reforms would mean for you. What is bereavement leave? Bereavement leave is paid leave for the employee at the time of death or funeral of a loved one from their immediate family. The temporary leave allows employees to recuperate after their loss and deal with grief without worrying about their official duties. OPM defines a loved one as a parent, guardian, or a parent-in-law. It could be a grandparent. It could be a spouse or partner. It could be a sibling or even a child. The new guidelines were adopted by the National Defense Authorization Act of 2022. The new act gives 2 weeks of paid leave for bereavement, and the 2 weeks are only in connection with the death of a child. The 2 work weeks must be used within a single 12-month period. The 12-month period starts on the date of the death of the child. Once the 12 months are completed, they will renew and can be used again in the misfortune of another child's passing. The 2 weeks are not entitled as whole days, but as working hours. Federal employees are entitled to 104 hours of bereavement leave, which could differ based on their tasks and regular working hours to find how many days they get. The 13-day bereavement leave includes family care, funeral arrangements, and attendance and bereavement. If caring for a chronically ill family member takes more than 13 days, you can apply for family and medical leave. So, who is eligible for bereavement leave? Well, the new leave will be available to all Title V employees serving more than 1 year. Employees become eligible if a child is terminally ill or dies. OPM strictly defines qualifying children regarding bereavement leave for federal employees. Qualifying children include biological, adopted, step, or foster child that is under the years of 18. If the child is over 18 years, they must fall under the definition of physically or mentally disabled people who are unable to take care of themselves. The 12-month bereavement leave period is maintained even if a federal employee moves to another job in the federal government. It is forfeited the moment they leave federal service. As stated earlier, the federal retirement process can be very complex, and it's so important to access accurate information from knowledgeable sources. At Federal Educators, we strive to be a great resource for understanding how to plan for retirement and learning about available benefits and options. Don't hesitate to contact us at 813-491-1786 if you have any questions or would like to receive a personalized federal benefits analysis. It's free and no cost or obligation to you. And before I sign off, I want to remind you that bereavement leave isn't the only benefit that you can get. You or your coworkers might not know about many federal employee benefits. In addition, you might want to be planning to work in the federal government, but you do not know what it's like. Federal educators can help you learn about FERS, FERS, or even CSRS, CSRS benefits. Each of our federal advisors at our firm have earned a Federal Retirement Consultant designation that signifies our depth of knowledge and expertise in federal benefits. Call 813-491-1786 to get in touch with us to help you better understand your FERS or CSRS benefits. That's it for today. Stay tuned for more from federal educators. See you next time.
Hi, I'm Kirk Agus with Federal Educators, a company dedicated to helping federal employees just like you. How much will you receive in your pension? How much does the survivor benefit cost? Can you keep your health insurance in retirement? With a free benefits analysis, we will answer all these questions and more. As a federal employee, it's critical to have a clear understanding to maximize your benefits. From FERS retirement to Social Security and health insurance, our team at Federal Educators specializes in knowing your benefits. Schedule your free benefits analysis today.
Hi, I'm Chris Maggie, owner of Federal Educators, a company dedicated to helping federal employees just like you. Want to know how much your FERS pension will be? How about when you can retire? At Federal Educators, we specialized in federal employee benefits for over 2 decades. Schedule your free benefits analysis with us today. Clearly understanding your benefits, such as how and when to take distributions, is critical. Our benefit analysis will cost you nothing. Not taking it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. We look forward to speaking with you.
Coming up next on the Federal Employee Benefits Show, the Q&A segment.
Welcome back to the Federal Educators Show. I am Christina Walsh, and joining me today are Chris and Bobby Maggie.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you both for joining me. I've got some special questions today about federal benefits. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, I'm going to start with, what is FERS? Special Provisions Eligibility for Law Enforcement, Firefighters, and Air Traffic Control. What is early out, and what does credible coverage mean? Did you get all that?
All good questions.
All
write
good
that
questions. Yeah. What is
Good
FERS?
question.
Yeah, so FERS is the Federal Employee Retirement System. That's the new system that most of the federal employees are on right now. So there was
Started
this,
in like after 1984. Before that, there was CSRS, Civil Service.
Okay.
Most people probably are FERS.
Okay.
So that's what that
and
is.
the difference is the old system, they didn't pay into Social Security.
Correct.
So they have a higher payout on their pension, up to 80% of their high 3, which is their highest 3 consecutive years of service. So if someone was making $100,000 a year, they meet the eligibility requirements, they can get as much as 80% of the high 3, so $80,000 a year of income.
Yeah.
But the new system, FERS, they do pay into Social Security. So they get Social Security, but their benefits are lower on their pension. So that's the difference between FERS and CSRS.
But also they get the Social Security, they get the TSP, and they get the FERS pension. CSRS doesn't get all that. So for their retirement, that's how it calculates. They don't know that until they see us, and we run the federal benefits analysis, because they're shocked. But the thing is that they've worked all their career and not realizing when they retire what kind of benefits they have. Those are very important.
They're very important benefits.
And when you mention law enforcement, those are called special provisions.
Right.
Okay.
So law enforcement, firefighters, air traffic control, they have different eligibility requirements. So they also have a higher payout on their pension. So if you are listening out there and you are a firefighter or special provisions, then you need to get with us, Leo, law enforcement, because we can show you how to retire early and maximize your benefits.
So what does it mean to have an early out, and what does credible coverage mean with
Great.
that?
So the pension is based off of your credible coverage, so
Okay.
years of service. So that's why it's so important to meet with us, because the leave and earnings statement, everyone knows that if you're a federal employee, you need to bring that in, because what it does is it'll show your SCD date, your service computation date, and then also from there we can calculate what your pension's going to be. So credible service is years and
of
time
service.
in the agency. And when you retire, you have to fill out this SF50 form, and there's other forms you have to fill out. We had a client that came in a couple of years ago. She thought she had 20 years of service, but she really only credited for 19 years and 6 months.
It's a verification form that they are basically responsible to fill out every year and keep on file.
Okay.
Because when they do retire, that has to be handed in. And like Chris said, if it's not right, then you don't get paid and it delays the retirement. So there's a lot of little things that they don't know, they need to know, and that's one of them.
And early out is a lot of people want to retire
Just
early.
gonna mention that, yeah.
So there's some stipulations that they have to be aware of. So they have to meet eligibility requirements. If not, and they retire at the wrong time, there's a 5% penalty for every year up to age 62 if they have not gotten 20 years of service. So they have to make sure that they know when they can retire. Because we did a review last year for a client. She thought she had the amount of time. She wanted to retire. She's like, I'm 58. She has not reached the eligibility, but there's a 5% penalty for her for 4 years. So she'll have if she wants to take the pension, it's a 20% reduction. So we informed her of that, and she said, oh, that's not what I want to do. I'll just go work the other 4 years. And she did, and there was no reduction.
But the option is if they do want to get early out, then they can postpone their benefits and not be disqualified for them. They just have to wait till their age, and then it goes back into play.
And the penalty does not apply.
And the penalty does not apply. That's huge, because we've seen people come in and they did exactly the opposite we told them. And the word is postpone, because that keeps your benefits, but you can leave. But then when the age comes where the MRA hits, then you get all your benefit. Why would you want to lose that?
Yeah.
You know, well, I can tell you why. I mean, there's some people that are not happy about working for the federal government, but that's any job, I guess, you know. But in this case, federal benefits and federal education is important because they have, and I've said it many times, I think the best benefits on the planet.
Yeah.
They just have to be educated. That's why we do what we do here.
Yeah.
You know, we offer a free benefits analysis to everyone out there. If they go to our website, Federal Educators, they can put their information in, and that's the conversation. Once they see that report, what we're talking about here, it's clear but not crystal clear.
Yeah.
But we're going to make it crystal clear.
We'll make it clear. Well, there are lots of things that are to come into consideration. We talked early out, we talked credible coverage, but there's also a survivor benefit for those that are married. Can you talk about what those options are and how they're calculated?
So so if you're married, you get a pension. Well, if you meet the eligibility, you get a pension. But if you happen to be married, you want to take care of your spouse, right? So there's a 50% survivor benefit you can give to your pension if, God forbid, you happen to pass away, or a 25% survivor benefit, where they would get 25% of what you get, or there's no option, so there's no survivor benefit. And that means if you pass away, you know, you work 20 years, you live 3 more months, and you collect your pension, and then you happen to pass away, and there's no survivorship benefit, your spouse won't get anything.
It's zero.
So it'll be zero. But the problem with that is if you select the no spousal benefit, and that happens where you pass away, then your spouse is not eligible for the health insurance, the FEHB.
Yeah.
So you have to elect a 25% or a 50% survivor to make sure that's taken care of for your spouse.
See, there's certain rules that they have to abide by, and that's one of them. They don't know that they have to pick a survivor benefit. There is a cost to it, and it comes off their pension. But if they don't take a survivor benefit, then they lose the health insurance. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but the health insurance they keep, as long as they worked 5 years, then the spouse is entitled to it. And many times, people come in and say, well, my husband has to work till 65 or 70. And the answer is no, he doesn't. So they're getting wrong information. And again, when we run that report, it's clear. I can tell you how many times you get a lady come in and say, wow, then quit, you know, because we can get the benefit. They don't want to lose the health insurance.
Yeah.
So it's a big benefit, but that's what the FEHB is.
There's lots of benefits there.
Sure.
But the understanding is that some federal employees, not all, also qualify for an additional benefit similar to Social Security called the special supplement. What is that exactly? How do they qualify? And where does that benefit come from?
So special supplement is an extra benefit by the agency if you're a federal employee that you could get prior to 62. So what age do we get Social Security? What's the first age we can get? that people
What
know.
age do you get Social Security?
Me or you?
I'm gonna ask you.
Well, you're different.
When do you get Social Security?
Come on, Christine, give us the right answer.
Take a guess.
7.
67, but what age can you take it earlier?
Oh gosh, 65, 62.
65,
See,
62.
there you go. Are you a federal employee? We can help you out. No, actually, only kidding aside, it's 62.
62.
Unless there's other requirements that you get it before.
So think about this. If you're 60, you could retire 60 and 20 years of service,
Yeah.
right? You'll get your pension, but then again, you can't collect Social Security until 62, right? But the special supplement enables you to collect another income source called the special supplement if you meet the requirements, 60 and 20 years of service. So you can get probably about 75% of the pay, what you would get at 62 on Social Security, coming from your agency, from the government. So you get your pension plus the special supplement, which would be 2 income streams. And that stops at 62. And then you can turn on Social Security, which will give you a higher amount. Now you got 2 income streams for the rest of your life, not touching your TSP.
Yeah, and the key there at 62, maybe if you're still working and you make more than the required amount, you would have to pay $1 back for every 2. So when we do the complete planning that we do, maybe they don't need to take Social Security at 62. So you let it defer until your full retirement age. And that's more for them, but at least if they're working now, they don't have to pay that money back. And that's important for them to know.
So in regard to Social Security, I think you were just describing how earned income can affect the Social Security payment.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure.
Well, that's it. I mean, you have earned income, wages, you pay into it,
Yeah.
and that's where FICA comes in, right? So you pay into Social Security, and then that's where the longer you pay in, the more benefit you'll have later on. But that's the Social Security maximization report that we can run.
Yeah, we run that
for our
report for them
clients.
to show them, yeah. But the earnings test, what you're talking about, if they make more than a certain amount, they got to pay $1 back for every 2. Plus, it's taxable. So there's a double-edged sword there, and they have to be careful. So when we do the tax planning and we do the income planning, that what shows them, and by the way, they go, wow, we didn't know that. So maybe we shouldn't take it, right, guys? And exactly. So
Yeah.
it's education, Christine. I mean, it's people don't understand the federal benefits. That's why we do this show. That's why we talk about all these topics, because they're not educated on it. It's not their fault.
Right.
Don't forget, they're working 20, 30 years, but now when you come to retirement, it's a new game, and you have to understand the rules. So the questions you're asking, they all apply.
There's a lot of different benefits, but they all have their own rules, is what I'm hearing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the federal educators are going to help educate us all on those rules.
You got it.
Well, thank you both for joining me today. And we'll be back with more after this with the Federal Educators Show.
Hi, I'm Bobby Maggie, owner of Federal Educators, a company dedicated to helping federal employees just like you. Do you want to know how much your FERS pension will be? How about when can you retire? At Federal Educators, we've specialized in federal employee benefits for over 2 decades. Schedule your free benefits analysis with us today. Clearly understanding your benefits, such as how and when to take distributions, is critical. Our benefits analysis will cost you nothing. Not taking it could cost you tens of thousands of dollars. We look forward to speaking with you.
Thank you for watching the Federal Employee Benefits Show. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. Our goal each and every week is to help you better understand the retirement language so you know when to retire and know if you can retire. Make sure to tune in next week as we continue discussing all your federal benefits. Retirement may be more within your reach than you actually think. Request your free benefits analysis so you can understand all your federal benefits. Visit us online at federaleducators.com. That's all we have for today, and we look forward to seeing you here again next week.